Got another writing tip for you. Let's talk about how to write a really smooth scene transition. So I'm not talking about a paragraph break or like a POV switch. I'm talking about like that silky smooth going from backstory back into your present moment. And it can be really difficult, but one of the ways I find easiest to do this is taking one element from your previous moment and weaving it into that first one or two sentences of your new moment. So this can be an object, an emotion, an element of weather, some language. You can really pick whatever you want, but you want it to be something that has a bit of weight to it, or something you can really expand off of. And if you can't find that element, maybe those scenes aren't matching as well together. Maybe they need a little padding, or something needs to switch. If you can't find a through line, you got to add it. Let's jump into an example. So let's say your character is waffling on about backstory between her and her grandma and how important this locket necklace is to her. And we end that backstory moment with her feeling so safe with that necklace around her throat. Maybe we jump back into the present where she no longer has the necklace and she feels the absence and she feels alone. Or maybe she puts her hand to her neck and feels the necklace around it and feels very grounded, right? But that physical object is bringing us back into that moment with physicality of its absence or its present. Now, if we're thinking of language, this would be the use of repetition, right? So maybe we start talking about a heart in maybe like a more physical sense. And then in the next paragraph, we transition to the more emotional sense of what a heart means, of what that character feels about hearts. Such as like maybe they're playing with a deck of cards and she sees the Queen of Hearts. And then the next line could be something about like, she never thought that too much of her heart. She wasn't even sure if it was there or something, right? Like even that little bit of transition there between hearts will feel smooth and welcomed and like not disrupting a reader into getting backstory or going into a completely different moment. You can also obviously do this with weather. I think a lot of us rely on like time of day changing or like the environment to help us out in transitions. But I would keep it like hyper specific to that person in the moment. So if we're going like, especially for changing location, right? So maybe somebody was outside in like the bitter cold, but they were with someone that they feel really like calm and connected with. Maybe that cold didn't affect them, but then they go back into their family house and it is even chillier than the outside, right? Like that, just bringing in that relationship also like deepens the connection between those two people, tells us about the relationship with the family, but also works as like that smooth, buttery transition.